So about a few days ago, I stumbled across a Reddit post on the Junji Ito subreddit that says, "What is the point of the story, The Bully?" Now, though I am a fan of Junji Ito, I've never heard of this story. But with me having this YouTube channel, I was like, you know what? That'll be very interesting to do a video on. So I went and found it. And within my findings, I probably found the darkest and the most triggering Junji Ito story I've personally ever read. This story, at the time of me recording this, I literally just got done reading it. And I was like, okay, I have to record this. I have to, as soon as possible. I'm actually currently in the middle of working on a different video that's taking longer than I wanted to, but it doesn't matter. I wanted to read it, so we're here now. Before I get into the actual story itself, I will say this right now. There are a lot of triggering things. So if stuff like abuse or child abuse triggers you, then please stay away from the video and go watch something else. With that warning being said, let's get into the darkest Junji Ito story I've ever read. We start the story off at a playground with a couple sitting down talking about marriage. The woman, whose name is Kuriko, says, "Once I tell you my story, I wonder if you'll still want to marry me." The guy, named Yatoro, questioned her on why she even brought him out here in the first place. Normally, you don't really like going to the park, and you honestly refuse to go. To him, this place is full of memories from childhood, but it isn't for her. The playground has always been a symbol of her dark past. Ituro says, "I hope you're not telling me that our past together was so bleak for you." She goes on to say, "I don't remember much about you in the first place, which is why I must tell you and get this off my chest." We then get thrown into the past where her and Yutoro were kids. And the only reason why she really came to the park in the first place was because of him. Yutoro is jumping off a swing and lands on the ground. He yells that he just broke a record. A kid swinging looks over and sees a girl watching them. This girl is Kuriko. The kids then start making fun of her and says, "Hey Kuriko, I hear your mommy calling you," and then proceeds to tease Yutoro because she likes him. Yutoro tells him to shut up and then tells Kuriko to go home. She walks off and comes across a little boy with his mother. The mom asks if she was playing alone, and then the little boy and her make eye contact. The mother then leaves and says that she'll be back before dark. Kuriko is holding a bar of chocolate, and then the boy from earlier is still teasing her, saying, "Hey, come on, give us some chocolate." Kuriko says no, and then we cut to her and the little boy playing in a sandbox together. She asks him his name, and he says Neo. And then the same annoying kid comes and teases them about being at the playground together. Brother, do something else with your life, okay? They don't want you here. They then walk off and the swings are free, so they get on the swings together. After that point, the boy starts to grow attached to Kuriko. The next day he comes alone, and then the next day after that he comes alone again. But this time, Kuriko doesn't really feel like playing with him because she has stuff to do. She looks like that she feels a little bad for what she had to tell the kid. We then cut to her at her place, and her mom hands her over some treats that were given to her by Neo's mother for hanging out with him because he has no friends. After that, every single time she hung out with Neo, she felt obligated to play with him. And the more she did, the more aggravated she grew. We then see them sitting down at a bench. Kuriko says that she has to tell him a secret. She asked her, "What is it?" She then asks for his ear. She then proceeds to scream in his ear, and he feels a little flustered. He then says that his ear is humming. She says, "What? It's humming? You got a problem then. There are humbugs in your ear." Neo, humbugs are very scary, and they eat your brain. He wants them out, so she proceeds to pull on his ears, making him cry, and then leaves. She thought bullying him enough would get him to leave her alone, but it didn't. One day it's hot out, and Kuriko is drinking water from a water fountain. Neo asks for some water, but he can't reach to turn the water on, and he asks Kuriko if she could turn it on for him. She says no, and she'll take him somewhere even better than a water fountain. I don't know many places that's better than a water fountain on a hot day, okay? It's blazing hot in Florida right now. It's like 90 degrees. I was walking in the sun all day yesterday. It's probably the reason why my skin is 5 times darker. But let me tell you, if I had a water fountain yesterday, oh, Oh my gosh, bro. I'm telling you, that would have been heaven on earth. She proceeds to then take him to what seems to be a gutter. Neo says that he can't drink from the gutter, but she insists on it. He gets on his knees and she holds him down. He says he can't drink from it again, but she doesn't care and forces his face down into the water and runs away, leaving him crying. Do you see what I mean? Okay. It gets worse. We then cut to them in a field, and Kuriko narrates. Maybe when I first met him, I imprinted on him just how nice I could be. It didn't matter what I did to him. He always returned, and soon after, I started to enjoy bullying him. We then see that she asks Neo if he wanted to play fencing. He says okay, so they play. She then whacks the stick out of his hand and looks at him with a twisted face and says, "You're dead," and starts to beat him with the stick. I get kids will be kids and all. And I've been bullied in the past before. I feel like a lot of people have been bullied in the past. But I feel like there's something a lot more deeper going on in this situation with her. Just because I don't want to play with someone has never made me want to beat the hell out of them. I'm just saying. I've been annoyed so many times in my life, but never have I ever wanted to beat someone with a stick, yet alone another child. Even when I was a kid, I never wanted to do that. So they don't get into what's really going on at home in the story, which would have helped. But again, this is a short story. You know, you can't really fit all that in here. But it just makes me wonder, like what else is going on at her place that's making her do this. The next day, Neo is on top of a slide and Kuriko wants him to jump off of it unless she's not going to play with him anymore. The mom then proceeds to come over and asks Kuriko what's going on. Kuriko tells him that he's acting weird and says that he's going to jump. The mom says that she'll come up and get him. So she does, and Kuriko gets more chocolate out of it. The next day, Neo didn't show up, so she went to go get Neo herself. Huh? The whole point for bullying him is to get him away from you. They're at the park and she asked him if he told his mom about any of this. He says no, but she doesn't trust him, so she says that she'll have to test him. And she proceeds to drag him by the ear to someone's front yard. There's a dog in the front yard and she rolls over a ball to wake it up. She then says to Neo, "Go fetch it." Neo says that he's scared twice, but she doesn't care and pushes him in anyway. We're back to the present day. Yutaro asks what happened to him afterwards. She said not long after that, they moved. She tells him she was a horrible child, but Yutaro didn't really seem to be fazed by it. She then says, well, I guess I have to tell you the rest of the story then, because there's an epilogue. She then proceeds to say that she ran into Neo the other day. We then get a small flashback to them running into each other, and he seems to be strangely fine, like nothing ever happened to them in the past. He then asked her if she would like to go get tea. We then cut to them to what seems to be at a restaurant, and we see that he's there for a job that he has. He goes on to say, Kuriko, you haven't changed at all. You are always a pretty girl. She says, thank you. But then he says, you gave me lots of wonderful memories. She looks a little shocked at that fact, and he asks her if they would like to go visit the playground. The next day, they then go to the playground together, and he seems very surprised on how the playground hasn't changed not one bit. Even the road that she used to drag him by his ear on is still there. She says, I didn't mean to hurt you. And then he admits that he's always loved her and never stopped thinking about her even when he moved. She tells Yutaro she felt free from the past. Yutaro asks if she has seen him since. She admits that she has met him many times, and even at the park right now. Then Neo walks up and tells Yutaro that she has fallen in love with Neo. After that, Yutaro left and Neo and Kuriko got married. Not before long, they end up having a child together. But it didn't really seem to last long because Neo would end up leaving months after they got married. Months and then 4 years had passed and they live in an apartment and her son is begging for food. He won't leave her alone even though she has been tired from work. They sit and eat and the kid is still complaining. He says he wants an omelet. Then she goes on to say, oh, come on, Neo. Quit complaining and eat. The kid then asks, who's Neo? She says, sorry, you look exactly like your father. And at that moment, she thinks of the times that she used to bully Neo. She proceeds to tap her fingers on the table and says, I wonder what Neo is up to now. Somehow I feel like bullying him again. So then she looks at her son. Brace yourself. It is now dark in the apartment. Her son is crying while she does her makeup. While her son is crying, she talks to herself. Neo never fell off of a cliff. You weren't even abducted by the mafia. You didn't even run off with another woman. You meant to take revenge right there from the start. We then see the son still crying. Then she says, Neo, how long are you gonna keep this up? A boy shouldn't cry like a baby. But I'm not Neo, the boy says. She then steps out of the room and says, You nasty little boy. You come see me, knowing I want to play with you, Toro. All you want to do is get in the way. So fine. All right, I'll play with you. Let's go off to the playground. I'll play with you. The boy then says, Mommy, it's already night out. Then she says, That makes it even better. We then see her in a child's outfit with the hair that she used to have when she was a kid. We then see her walking out with her son, holding her hand at night, telling him that he'll just be fine. And that is the end of The Bully. Tell me that's not dark, okay? Tell me that's not dark. Gosh. A part of me hates the fact that I really like this story, and I actually probably think it's probably my favorite Junji Ito story he's ever made. It's so dark in so many different ways. You got that sad behind ending with her going pretty much crazy and turning back into her own self literally as a child. For me, I guess that she kills her son. I'm sorry to say that, but I think she kills her son. But if that's not even the case, just the fact that she's most likely abusing her son just because she enjoyed abusing her ex-husband back in the day. Even the stuff that she did when she was a kid to Neo was like, what? You pretty much almost drowned this man because you enjoyed it? I think another reason why this story also hits very hard for especially as a Junji Ito story is because Junji Ito normally goes for this cosmic horror aesthetic, which never really, scared me all that much, because it's fiction, like, but there's nothing more horrifying than reality because this could definitely happen to someone in real life. And I'm pretty sure it's happened to someone in real life. And it's honestly insane to think about. And we see that in the beginning, she wanted him gone, right? She wanted him gone, but then he didn't show up to a playground, so she went to go get him. You see that bullies in general, just bullies in real life, they almost never have a good reason why they do what they do unless there's something going on in the house. Now, we don't know if there's anything going on in the house. I'm assuming that there is, but since they don't explain it, we can most likely just assume that she's just an evil person. I'm very happy that I read it because it's definitely my favorite Junji Ito story I've read in a long time, like literally a long time. And it's so buried too. Like I found this because of a Reddit post. I didn't know this story existed. He has so many stories that I just don't know about that I want to read more of it, because I know his stories from like his story collections or like Uzumaki or Tomi or Gaio, the mainstream ones. But he probably has so many other darker stories than this that I genuinely want to know more about. Do I think this is darker than Ambiguity Fault? By a landslide. I think this is a lot darker than Ambiguity Fault. Bump what that one video says. I think this is 10 times worse than Ambiguity Fault. One other thing that I want to point out before I end off this video, because this outro is very long, is the only person that managed to win in this situation is Yutoro. This man managed to get out of a relationship with a crazy woman and went to live on his life. He was done dirty as well. Like, imagine your wife sitting you down, telling you this whole story, and then just out of nowhere, she says, "Oh, by the way, I fell in love with some other guy, and this guy is right here, right now. So goodbye." And then they get married like a few months later, and then all of a sudden he leaves. Wow. But yeah, shout out to you, Toro, for winning. and escaping that madness. This story is absolutely insane. If you want to read it, I'm not gonna link it. I literally had to go to like this website with a bunch of ads to find it online, and they might have viruses. And with that being said, goodbye. Also, this will most likely be out by Monday. I'm sorry I haven't been able to get the videos out to the pace that I personally want them to be, but hell, things get in the way. All right, goodbye. This story is insane.